Hey, Bran here. Getting Gen Rush can be one of the most boring and deflating things to face in Dead by Daylight. Whereas most killers would just slap on a bunch of slowdown perks to deal with this, any crutch is a bad crutch. So here's 3 things you should be doing to pressure generators. If you look here, I have created a recreation top-down of the Groaning Storehouse map from the Macmillan Estate. This is an actual map spawn that I got, and I've recorded everything that I can. I want you, before we start, giving you examples to identify yourself with some things. Anything in a black line is a wall, anything with a double red line is a window, and anything that is yellow is a pallet or a breakable wall. Obviously the hooks are the hooks, and the generators are the generators. You got that down? Okay. Now let's set the scene of the match before we get to the generators. You are playing the Trapper. You spawn up here. Dwight and Claudette spawn down here. Jake spawns to the right here, and Meg spawns on the left. Now the stage is set. Now let's get to the generators. Number 1. Giving up generators on purpose. This may sound counterintuitive, but let me explain. The sad fact is that some gens are near impossible or just incredibly difficult to defend. These gens usually have commonalities like being high up in a structure, down in the dead end of a map that doesn't connect anywhere, or in a very, very strong structure. One of these gens, there are 2 gens like this on this map. Jake spawned right next to one. Claudette and Dwight also spawned right next to one. Why are these gens nearly impossible to defend? If you take a look here, Meg will come down to this one. Now if you look at generators like the one that Meg has come to, if you decide to come pressure Meg, you see her scratch marks, you come over here. She doesn't have a lot to work with, but you have a lot of pressure on this side of the map. There's a lot of places to go and there's a lot to control here. So even if someone sneaks up on a gen up behind you up here somehow, or if they sneak onto the center gen, or if they sneak onto this gen, you're still relatively in an area where you can pressure these 3 gens. However, if you look at the generators, like especially the one down here in these cubbies that Jake, Dwight, and Claudette are on, if you come down here, there's nowhere for you to go. You can't pressure this gen, it's very far away. You can't pressure this gen and Shack, A, because it's Shack, and B, because it's very far away. And then, also, you give up pressure on most of the entire map. When you're down here in this corner, trying to interrupt Claudette and Dwight on this gen, even if you do so successfully, which reminded you, you spawned here, so you had to walk the entire map to get here. Even if you make it here and start pressuring them, look how much space you cannot pressure right now, because it's in a corner. Look at how much you cannot affect now, because you're trying to pressure this one gen in a corner. Some gens, you just have to give up. Gens like the ones that Jake spawned on, and Claudette and Dwight spawned on, it's just not optimal to pressure them, because these generators are incredibly difficult, and you lose pressure on almost the entire map by going to them. Other gens like this include the upstairs generators on Hawkins, and maps and gens in incredibly strong structures like the one on Fractured Cowshed. Now, however, by giving up these more difficult generators, you were able to focus on more unsafe generators and double down on your pressure. Like I said earlier, with Trapper, if you decide to come pressure Meg off of this gen, even though you may lose these gens over here, you have the ability to quickly walk to not just 3, but 4 generators in the center of the map here. You have the ability to affect basically this entire circle right here. Even though you may lose these generators on the outside, you have a small circle where it is much, much easier to defend these generators. It is definitely okay to give up these generators. So let's catch up on the progress of the match. You decide to pressure Meg. Meg will take you into this tile. However, the sad thing here is that this generator down here definitely will get done. There's not much you can do about that. This generator down here will get done. There's not much you can do. 2 people on it, it's going to go very fast, and when it's in a hole like that where it's a corner where it's really hard to defend, that's just going to happen. They're probably going to hear the tear radius and move on to the shack gen. If they're smart, they split up, but that's likely not what will happen. Jake's still going to be working on this gen because it takes a little longer, and you're going to chase Meg. So you pick up Meg, you finally down Meg. So you pick up Meg and you put her on this hook. She is now in the big ouchie zone. She is not having a good time. But what do we do with that? Well, you're about to see. Number 2, Intercepting the Saver. This may be breaking a lot of rules in the Survivor rulebook, but this is easily one of the best ways to enact gen pressure. This one requires you to have one survivor on hook, which in this course of the match you have gotten Meg on hook after a successful chase. Once you have hooked the survivor, you often see signs of another survivor coming to save. In this example, these guys clearly seemed obsessed with getting gens done as quickly as possible. Jake will probably be the one that has to come off, unfortunately not being able to finish his generator. However, you have not gone very far either, and you see Jake coming for the save. You must engage this survivor. You must come after the guy coming for the save. What this means is that the survivor who's been dedicated to the save here no longer can, because they are now preoccupied with you. Now, one of these two, either Claudette or Dwight, now has to pull off this gen that they were trying to get done as fast as possible to come save Meg. So Dwight is going to have to now come off his gen to come get Meg because you're chasing Jake. Now somebody who was working on a gen is no longer doing so, and you didn't even have to come near the generator. Now you have occupied 3 people on the map. 3 people are now not doing generators. You can also be especially aggressive. And if Jake makes it to a pallet and he starts camping this junk tile pallet over here, and you see these scratch marks over here, you can come chase Dwight. And now Dwight can't save. And Jake's probably going to go back to his gen once he sees you chasing after Dwight. And guess who that occupies? Claudette. Claudette now either has to make the choice on whether she wants to finish this gen or go save Meg, which Meg may eventually go to second stage if this goes on long enough. Now let's give you another update to the match. You're chasing Dwight. Now Claudette has to come off her gen to go get Meg. She successfully gets Meg down, and Meg is now able to return to the match. However, in the meantime, unfortunately, it's just how the matches go. It's nothing you have done wrong or anything you've done incorrectly. Jake returns to that gen that he had in the corner that you hadn't even seen, and he finishes that gen as well. So now there are 2 gens done, we're at 3 gens in the match. And this gen is like halfway done. The one in shack is like halfway done. Meg and Claudette are going to heal up. You're chasing Dwight, and Jake is now free. He's probably going to come this way and come work on this generator in shack. In the meantime, you chase after Dwight, and after a short chase, expending some resources, you down Dwight. And now, this is where we get into number 3. Number 3, creating a hotspot. Creating a hotspot in a match as killer is going out of your way to force a certain section of the map to have most, if not all, of the activity in a match. Remember how we said to identify which gens earlier are too hard to defend? On the Macmillan map of Groaning Storehouse, we identified the corner gens were too hard to defend because they were too disconnected from the rest of the map. And because of the pressure you've enacted, you've given up these 2 gens willingly, they are already out of the way, so you no longer need to worry about these incredibly difficult to defend generators. You said this part of the map, these 2 parts of the map are not important, in order to double down on the center section where no gens have been done. None of the gens have been done in the center here. Make this part of the map your hotspot. Make this part of the map your hotspot. Make this left corner your hotspot. How do you do this? You've already partially done it. You've foregone defending 2 generators that are incredibly hard to defend. Now, how do you ensure a hotspot? You've already just downed Dwight. What you do is you pick up Dwight, and instead of hooking him here, instead of hooking Dwight at this hook, which is the most convenient because he's downed right in front of it, you're going to want to take him to either the Pride Rock hook right here or a hook near the center here. So instead of going for the most convenient hook, you're going to put Dwight on Pride Rock hook. What this does is solidify your hotspot. Your hotspot is now this circle right here. You've said this is where all the activity of the map happens. This is where you down Meg and hooked Meg earlier. This is where you force Claudette to heal and people to come for the save. And now you're forcing people to come for the save again right here. This means you can defend the generators that are here easier, lock down this one survivor that you have hooked, and pressure anybody who comes from the save, because there's so little on the outside of this circle for them to do, because all the activity, all the things they need to do are in this hot spot that you have created, because you skipped this hook. You said the most convenient hook is not for me. I'm putting him in the center of the action. That way I can control everything in this circle. If survivors choose not to come to your hotspot, Jake may choose to do this generator. He may say, I don't care what's going on over there, we need to get gens done. They are risking this survivor, Dwight, going to second phase or dying, or possibly creating a 3-gen. So let's say Jake actually ends up doing this. He commits to this gen that was partially done earlier, and he knocks it out. This gen finally completes. Now we're at 2 gens. But look at the spread. Look at the spread of the gens now. Where are most of the gens? Most of the gens are in your hotspot, where you are. You are at the center of this. They have to come save Dwight. So Meg and Claudette now have to figure out how to get past you right here, right near 2 generators and a survivor on hook. And if Jake comes, you can see him from over there too, especially with Pride Rock. So even if Jake wants to hop on this gen or this generator, he can't now because there's a hotspot here with you, 2 generators, and a person on hook. So this is now a danger zone for the survivors. The best Jake can do is wander off to this gen, and even if he works on it by himself, and somehow gets it done, even if he gets help, look where all the gens are. They're in your hotspot. This is a 3-gen, because they've given up all of their pressure. They've coordinatedly done all their pressure in the easiest spots, which are the hardest for you to get to. But now all that's left are the gens that are incredibly easy for you to defend. And this is where most teams fall apart and most teams lose. Because you've created this hot spot, this orange circle, by hooking Dwight not down here, where you downed him, but up here, where all the action is. Where you could defend multiple gens while also keeping an eye on him, while also preventing the save. And now they're in a 3-gen, which is almost always a death sentence for survivors. And there is 3 things you should be doing to pressure generators. Hopefully this has been helpful for you and you have learned a lot from this video. If you really learned a lot, or if you just liked the video, liking it would be very much appreciated. And if you like what I do, subscribing would be great. I would very, very much appreciate it. Otherwise, I will see you when I see you, friend. Goodbye.